Hello friends, in my previous video you have seen how we can add feature and step definition files. Today I am going to demonstrate how we can add REST client to get request and response, and how we can use those request and response method into step methods. So now I'm going to add REST request and response methods. So first we will create one class. So just go to Solution Explorer, right click on class library and add one class. Go to add and class. Change the class name to REST API helper and add. So I'm just changing class to public and static because I just want to create this class as public and static. Now I'm declaring two variables. One is client, that will be a REST client, and second one is REST request. So public static REST client client, it's showing red, underline in red, so it means that the namespace is not added. So I'm just right click on it, so it will show the show potential fix, and it will add using restsharp. Once it is added, the error will be removed. So now it's added. Second variable is public static REST client REST request. And one more variable I am just going to declare, that is public static string base URL. Equals to http://mydomain.com. So this base URL actually your server name. This URL you can use, you can add in app.config also. Now I'm creating one method, public static, and it will return the REST client is set URL with one parameter string endpoint. So this endpoint will be passed through the step definition. Since we have two different URLs, one is base URL and one an endpoint, so we just need to combine both base URL plus endpoint. So I'm just declaring one variable, that is URL, variable URL equals to path dot combine base URL comma endpoint. Now this method will return a REST client. So client equals to client equals to new REST client, and we will pass the URL. So now it's created one method. So now we can call that method REST API helper set URL, and we can pass endpoint. Now we need another method. Since set URL is called in given because we are saying that I'm having a basic I'm having an endpoint. So this endpoint is sending to the set URL, and it will set the REST client. Now we are creating one method where we can create actually request. So public static REST request and create request. So creating a request, this REST request equals to new REST request, and we will pass method, that is method dot get, because we are calling a get method. So method dot get. Also we want to add some parameters, so we can write REST request dot first we are adding header because we want this request will be created and response will come in JSON format. So I am just adding a header accept comma, the type will be, the value will be application slash JSON. So this request, when this request go to the server, and the response will come in the JSON format. and then we can return this request. So this method is completed. So we have completed one part. So you just need to call that method REST API helper dot REST create a request. So this method will call a get method of the API. Now again go to the REST API helper class, and we will add one more class, one more method that will be a public static REST response, and get response. So this method will return the response. Return client dot execute and the request name. So this method basically send a request to the server, and it will return the response. So this method can be used in then part, where we are getting the response in JSON format. So just calling that method REST API helper dot get response. And this response actually we need to capture, because we need to validate the response is coming correct or not. So for the validation purpose, we are just adding a variable API response equal to REST API helper dot get response. So we have added three methods: set URL, REST request, and REST response. Before moving ahead, we just want to know some basic definitions which is used in code. So first is static. What is static? The static keyword is in C# is referring to a field that is marked as static, can be accessed from all the instances of the class through the class name. REST client. REST client is basically a bridge between the request and the server to get the response using HTTP methods from the server. REST request. REST request where you can create a request which consists header and parameters, etc. REST response is basically a response which coming from the server in different format like JSON or XML. Now we already demonstrated how we can get the request and responses. So these methods, we already created these three methods, and now we are going to add those methods in the step definition. We just need to call those methods. So this set URL, we can just use REST API helper dot set URL, and endpoint will be pass. Now same we can add in the when method. So I just need to call the get method or create request a REST API helper dot create request. And in the then method we can call get response. And this get response method returning the response. So I'm just adding one variable, that is variable response equals to REST API helper dot get response. Now how we can verify this response with the actual? So before that we just need to check the response dot status code. If the response dot status code is okay, it means that it's returning the valid response. So we just need to check if response dot status code equals to http status code dot ok, and inside this if we can do the validation, because if we will not get any valid response then we cannot verify the API result. So in this if condition we need to write the assertion. So how we can write the assertion? So first on the assert dot that. Assert is it's actually an unit keyword. You just need to add namespace and unit dot framework. So it had been it's added now. It's showing in green. Assert dot that, and that should have three parameters. One is actual, which is coming from the response. Second one is the expected, which we need to validate, and third is the error message. So there are lots of parameters we can pass. If you see the method, it's having 12 type of overloading methods, 15 overloading methods. So first we will write the response dot content, because content having the response, comma is dot equals to. So is basically the validation part, and you can write equals to equivalent. There are lots of methods, depends on the data, which data you need to validate with the expected result. So is dot equals to, and in equals to, because we do not have anything for the validation. So for the coding purpose I'm just defining one variable expected equals to something. So the purpose of this method is this assertion is the response which is coming from the server will be validated with the expected result. So actual and expected will be the same, then only this test case will pass, and some error message. If the response dot content means actual and expected both will not be equals to, then this error message will be coming as a output, and then the test case will get failed. Now after adding all the methods in given, when, then and step definition, we just need to check how we can run the test cases using feature or test explorer. So first first way is you can right click on the feature and you can see the run spec flow scenario or debug spec flow scenario. So you can run or debug the particular test cases, or you can go to the solution explorer and you can right click on the feature name. So you will see both the options, this run spec flow scenario and the debug spec flow scenario. So this is the second way. Third way, you can add the test explorer to the project. So just go to the test menu, go to windows and click on text explorer. So you can see the test case which we have added in the feature API application feature is added to this, and you can just right click on the test case and run selected test or debug. If you want to debug the test case, you can do that also. Once you right click on this and run the test case, it will show you the in the output window. So it will executing the test case. Now it says test case finished. It means that our test case got passed. You can see in the green it says this test case got passed, and you can see the details in below. It will show you the details. When you click on output, it will show you the results that given I have a endpoint that is done, then when part is done, then part is also done. It means that your test case got passed. Now I'm just showing how the test case get failed and how it will show in the test explorer. Remember, this test case is just a demonstration, so it will not having any pass or fail criteria. I'm just trying to pass or fail the methods. So when you run it again, so that test started and the test case is completed. It says test case is finished. So you can see in the red mark that the test case got failed, and it will show you the all the details why the test case is failed, where is the test case is failed. So it says that expected, and the what was expected was the something. If you right click on output, you can see the output window. It will show you that the expected is equal to something and actual was something else. So it means that the test case got failed. There are some basic mistakes or some solution when the test case not running or not added to the explorer, or when you click on right click on feature file, it will sometimes it will not run or it will not added to the text explorer. So there are some checks you need to check. First one is check for the SpecFlow Visual Studio extension is installed or not. To check this, you can just go to tools, extension and updates, and then search for the SpecFlow for Visual Studio 2015. If it is not installed, you need to install it. You can see in the screen also. Second, just check the SpecFlow and SpecFlow.unit package is installed. Third one is, in order to configure it to generate MS test, you need to add this code in your app.config file. So sometimes it happens, and when you add the SpecFlow, so it will show you the SpecFlow unit test provider name equal to n unit. So just you need to change n unit to ms test. You can see the screen also. Unit test provider name equals to ms test. Next one is, try following trick also to get the test case run. Close all the Visual Studio instances. Go to the temp Visual Studio test explorer extension. Delete all the folders and try it again. And last one is, if the tests are not showing in the test file explorer, you need to install that NUnit test adapter. Sometimes this adapter is required to see all the test cases in the text explorer. So go to the tool and select the extension and update and search for the NUnit. You can see in the screen also. So I have already installed NUnit 3 test adapter. So today we have seen how we can create a REST request method and response method, how we can use those method in the step definition file, and how we can run the test cases. Also I have given some details regarding the test cases not running or not added to the text explorer. So I've given the tricks also. So to get more videos, please subscribe my YouTube channel Automation Tech Guru. Thank you so much.